All right, so welcome everyone. Let me go ahead and get my slides up. Presenter with you. So welcome everyone. My name is Ian Aguilar. I am the Business Development Associate here at AMPAC Business Capital. I am joined by my lovely panel, Heli Castaneda, Matthew, and Madeline. We'll be introducing them a little bit later, but Heli and Madeline are with US Bank. I'm also joined by a few of my colleagues. We have James Martin here, Business Development Officer with the Community Lending Program. We have Ahmed Zwin, the Director of our Government Guaranteed Program, and Janine Warren with our Marketing, Loan Integration, and Training Executive. So thank you for joining us. All right, so we're welcoming you to our Traps of Fast Funding. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Oh, I forgot she did that transition. Okay, so AMPAC is a nonprofit. We are a 501c3 nonprofit lender as authorized by the SBA or Small Business Administration. Our mission is financing business success over shareholder profit. So who we are, as I just mentioned, we are a 501c3 mission-based lender as authorized by the Small Business Administration, as a CDC or a Certified Development Company, and a CDFI authorized by the United States Department of Treasury. And our mission is to uplift communities, strengthen families, and advance entrepreneurial dreams. So what we do, we primarily operate in the government-backed loan field. We operate primarily through the SBA loan programs, both the 504 and 7A, as well as micro. But we also do a few of our own direct loan programs, which are handled through raised up funds that we handle ourselves. So what we also do is best fit lending. So if we feel that you as a borrower are strong enough to qualify with, say, our partners at US Bank, we will help you get over there, get you introduced to a business banking partner, and get you that better interest rate and term for your business. So we also do our training programs such as these. Later at the end of this year, I think it's in December, we are going to be launching our Leap to Launch training cohort for small businesses. That is an 18-month long program in which we will bringing small business owners together, introducing them to business coaches and a variety of different speakers who will help them advance their entrepreneurial dreams. We also have our own ecosystem app. So as I had mentioned, we have our Advancing Entrepreneurial Dreams through a mobile app. So that serves kind of as what I like to describe as a nonprofit brokerage that helps you get connected with the people that you need to talk to in order to organize your business, start your business, and acquiring all the tools of the trade that it requires to operate successfully as a small business. So why should you choose to partner with AMPAC Business Capital? We value saying yes when others have said no. So, our banking partners have a strict regulation to protect the deposits of their customers. So they have to be a little bit more choosy with the people that they lend to. But that's why they partner with us. If they can't service your business, we exist to take on and help you advance to the point where you can get lending through those larger banks. So as I said, we do best fit advising. So we have the right loan for the right need. So whether it be SBA 7A Community Advantage, SBA microloans, state guarantee, or 504, we can fit you into a product that will best suit what you're looking for. So whether it be acquisition or a partner buyout, refinancing, equipment purchases, or purchasing equipment to begin with, commercial real estate purchases and refinance, doing specifically cosmetic renovations. We're not doing any hard construction right now. We refinance regular debt, which we'll be going over in just a moment, and then working capital and business startups. So you don't have to actually be at the revenue generating stage. We can help you get to that point as well. So part of our programs that we like to promote is our down payment assistance for commercial real estate. This is for 51% or more Black, Latino, or women-owned businesses and who are eligible for the SBA. Traditionally with the 504 program, you're going to put your 10% down, and then at the end of this, you'll get half of that back in the form of a working capital loan. We have the same thing available for people who do not fit into that Black, Latino, or women-owned business category if it is your first commercial real estate purchase with that operating company. Okay, so now that we've got our introductions in order, getting into the meat of this discussion, we're talking about the issues that arise when you seek out fast, or easily accessible financing as a small business. So we understand that you as a small business owner, you need capital in order to properly run your business, whether it be, you're a restaurant owner and you have an oven that is vital to your business and suddenly it breaks down and you need an emergency repair or replacement, or whether it be that you have to pay your guys on a weekly or monthly basis and you're behind on payroll, it's 12 a.m. and you need cash quick. It can be very tempting to go online, or, which we'll be speaking about in a moment. You'll see that as you operate your business, there are people offering you money. They say it's quick, they say it's easy, low qualifying, easy repayment schedule. It can be very easy to take this without understanding what it is that you're quite getting into. So we just kind of want to go over what we are getting into. So easy financing or easy cash to access comes with requirements, or very little requirements in terms of credit score. You don't really necessarily have a minimum time in business, and it's usually tied to what you're bringing in on a monthly basis in terms of your revenue. So the ones that we're talking about specifically today is what we call MCA, or merchant cash advance. And these are loans offered through typically your merchant processor, where you swipe your credit card, Visa card to take a payment from your customers. So they'll offer you an advance based off of your monthly bank statements, really. So it's very easy to access, but the catch is that you are often charged exuberant fees and pushed with very harsh repayment terms. So we're talking very short term. It could be 3 months, 6 months. Really, the largest that we see is 18 months or maybe 2 years. So this condensed payment schedule can be very hard to manage. On top of that, the way that the retrieval rate, as they call it, or the way they go about repaying these loans to themselves, is that they will take a percentage of each transaction that you conduct through the software. So a customer comes up and swipes their Visa, they're taking anywhere between 3% all the way up to 25% of that transaction. So, imagine you just made $1. Actually, you only made 75 cents off of that transaction. So that's the way that they'll go about repaying it. And it can already be hard enough to produce a profit from your business, especially when you're starting out. So instantly losing 25% of that sale can make things hemorrhaging for your small business. And going into the interest rate, those fees can be exuberant as well. So they don't classify themselves as loan. They call themselves cash advances, or an advance on your receivables, specifically sales. So they don't call it an interest rate, because if they start to define themselves as a loan, they're going to be subject to more strict regulation. So they keep themselves, oh no, we're not a loan, we're an advance, we're a factoring, we're this, that, or the other. They'll just say anything except loan. But when you convert that that factoring rate, it's typically between 25 basis points or 125 basis points. They'll call it a factoring rate, so it'll be 1.25 times what we're giving you. And that converted to interest rate can range anywhere between 25% interest all the way up to 250% is the largest that we've encountered thus far. And as I mentioned, this repayment will occur either at the point of sale or from a daily or weekly withdrawal from your business checking account. They will take ACH rights from your account. So this is an example of what you might see if you were to take on one of these kinds of loans. So they'll charge these financing fees. So you may be approved for a loan amount of $100,000, but they'll take a financing fee anywhere between, the highest we've seen is 60%. So that 100,000, all of a sudden, after financing fees, is only 40,000 that's actually deposited into your account, but you're still expected to repay that full 100,000. So you go in, you thinking you're going to get, $100,000 because that's what they tell you you're approved for. But you go to check your account and you see your balance on your loan versus what's in your checking account. They don't add it up at all, and you feel like you are left kind of in the dark. So here's an example of two business owners, and we'll actually be introducing one of our guest speakers here in a moment. These are examples of business owners that AMPAC has helped get out of these kinds of loans. So we had an industrial equipment wholesaler that was refinanced from paying just about $15,000 a month. We brought them down to $2,000, $2,600 per month. We did that by giving them a longer repayment period, lowering their interest, and easing that burden of the weekly payments to one monthly payment. So if you could imagine, you're paying total week to week $15,000, and then now you have the relief of paying $2,600 per month. Another example is a production company or a film studio that we assisted, offering them $190,000 in financing, which included the refinance of the debt as well as working capital to replenish the reserves. Because when you're in these loans, you're hemorrhaging money. You're paying, X amount of dollars per month. You're losing all of your capital reserves. You need to have that replenished. So we saved them $20,000 per month on top of replenishing their working capital reserves. So that's really what we're here to talk about today, is how AMPAC and our partners can help you as a business owner get out of these. It's possible to refinance this debt, ease your monthly payment burden, ease even your weekly payment burden, get yourself a better interest rate, and stop the hemorrhaging, and even in some cases replenishing that reserve. So you can worry less about how you're going to pay the loan back and focus more on building your business, making it stronger, and passing on that wealth to your family in the future. And it is at this point that I would like to introduce Matthew of Cellar Doors. He has graciously agreed to come and speak on his experience with dealing with an MCA. This is one of our favorite guys because he's just such a bundle of energy.
Oh,
A great joy to talk to. And then there's his handsome face in the top left and also at the top right if you're seeing him. Matthew?
hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, that photo in that picture looks a lot better than what's on the screen. So if you guys could just keep your eyes on the photo and pretend like what's on the screen doesn't exist, that works.
All right, so Matthew, we want to ask you a little bit about your experience. So tell us, how did you arrive in, how did you first get introduced to what we would refer to as an MCA loan?
So like you said, they do make it real easy, almost too easy. So the way we got our MCA debt is, so we're a vacation rental management company, and we use a software to get, our owners' properties on all the different platforms. We have all these different integrations that all happens in one place. So they see our revenue that comes in, and you would go and log in, and the first thing that would pop up is you're eligible for $75,000. Click here to get your funds tomorrow. And we started this business late 2021, and it really ramped up over time. And I took a lot of the responsibility myself. I did our books, I did everything, and I made some errors early on, I would say. Stuff I probably should have been outsourcing, but I kind of was bootstrapping the business. And we put ourselves in a position where I did not have the reserves. I didn't feel comfortable. I'm responsible for my owner's properties, and also, distributing them their monthly distributions from the revenue and that the property produced. So it stressed me out as an owner. And every time I log in the morning to, check the ins and outs of all our properties, here's this, you're approved for $75,000, click here. So that's how the MCA debt entered the chat for me. I had always had SBA financing on my mind, but I wasn't yet qualified. I didn't have my second tax return in, and it was kind of a pain point. And my uncle is a business owner, and he's always just telling me the investor or your client is always first. So do whatever you can to put them first. And finally, one day that pop-up that I saw every day on the PMS for that MCA loan, I took it because I didn't feel that we had enough reserves. We weren't liquid enough. Because in the short-term vacation rental, I mean, right now we have a home someone's staying at, bathtub flooded, roof collapsed. So that's going on right now. So I can't wait to pay for that fix that needs to be paid for today, right now. So I was in a good spot, and the MCA made it too easy to say no. And I had to deal with the repercussions of, what I might call it predatory debt, but I had to deal with the repercussions after the fact.
And Matthew, do you feel like the terms were made clear to you when you were first signing up for it?
They were clear to me, you know, they were taking 15% of my sales, which they saw as the property management software, they saw all the money coming in. So I think that's how they sized me up for that amount. Um, and the repayment, like you said in your example, the repayment was a lot more than was actually what was actually lent to me. So I understood the terms, but I could see how you could easily not understand them.
And if you are willing, if you could go into kind of the toll that this took on your business and you yourself as the owner trying to manage the debt.
Yeah, so the toll it took is I had to make a ton of cuts. So we had a whole guest relations team. I took it on myself. Um, you know, when you first get the MCA, you're flush, the account looks good, but after the weekly, you know, the weekly withdrawals from your account to fund these MCAs, that surplus of cash you had in your account goes quick. So I had to, you know, from being a business that was bootstrapped, I was looking towards hiring and growing, and then I had to revert back to doing absolutely everything myself, all while seeing my bank account every Wednesday. It was Wednesday they took the cash out. I would dread Wednesdays because they would just take so much cash out of our account that, you know, right before I got introduced to AMPAC, I mean, I couldn't sleep at night. So I couldn't sleep. You know, my business, I'm responsible for other people's assets. So it's not just me that I'm harming if, you know, if I don't properly function, I'm harming people that have trusted me with their homes, and the amount of stress it put on me was insane. I think I told Ahmed and Donnery and everyone that AMPAC when we first met how stressed and, you know, dire, you know, this situation had become. And to answer your question, because I think I just blabbed on, it was extremely stressful in one sentence. I should have just said that.
And, you know, you had mentioned that. So could you describe how you got introduced to AMPAC and how we serviced you to help you get out of this?
Oh, absolutely. So we got our second tax return in. You know, our revenue is great. It always was great. And we were eligible for SBA financing. So I started, you know, Google. I went through Google, started looking, you know, went on Reddit, just tried to find different resources. And, you know, I'd get to these banks, everyone would be all thrilled, excited. Oh, we can get you this, no problem. This is no problem, no issue. I'd get my hopes up. We'd do all the due diligence. You know, I had this light at the end of the tunnel. And then every single lender unanimously at the end would go, yeah, we can't refinance what we consider bad debt. And that seemed to be the recurring theme. And I had just felt so defeated. I think I just started physically going into bank branches, which is probably what I should have done to start. But I physically went in, and it was actually a banker at Chase that referred me to AMPAC. And my first call with AMPAC was with Ahmed, who is a genius. And when you had a slide that says when everyone else says no, AMPAC says yes, that was Ahmed on our call. I told him all of these different banks that told me no, just because I was looking to refinance this ugly debt out. That was my primary goal. And then the working capital on top is just work. I mean, that's just been icing on the cake for us to grow the business and get rid of this predatory debt. But yeah, Ahmed, right from the get-go, he said, that's a joke. I cannot believe these banks are telling you this. We can absolutely refinance out that MCA debt that you have. And he couldn't have been more true to his word. In 11 days, start to finish, Ahmed got rid of that ugly debt, got us working capital. I sleep wonderfully at night now. We're growing. I could sing the praises of AMPAC all day long. I think I said before the call, I'd be willing to get a tattoo, an AMPAC tattoo across the chest. I love AMPAC and all the people over there.
Matt, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, we love to help business owners such as Matt. We couldn't be happier that he's thrilled with our service. And so this is what we're looking to service. If you know anyone who's suffering under these kinds of debt, we get very aggressive as far as refinancing them. Now, we can't help everyone, but we do get very aggressive when it comes to refinancing this because we see the damage that it can do to these small businesses. And they're our job creators. They're what keeps the economy flowing. And it's important that we support them with everything that we have. So if you do know someone who's experiencing, struggling, getting financing, you know, as Matt said, it can be difficult to find somebody who's willing to talk to you. You know, reach out to us, reach out to your local business banking partner who maybe knows somebody. Like we have US Bank, we have Madeline. They have people who know about us and other lenders who can help them out when the banks can't. And then they will build you up to that point where you are ready. So let's talk about some proactive solutions that you could take to kind of make sure that you don't end up in these situations. So we want to talk about cash flow forecasting. So just taking what we call cash flow projection and looking into the future, trying to predict what your expenses are going to be like during a certain season, what revenues are predicted to look like over a certain season, and seeing where there could be potential shortfalls in cash and help you prepare to build up your financing before then. Building an emergency fund, so reserving your cash to cover unexpected expenses or dips in revenue. So if there's suddenly an unexpectedly short period of time where you're not generating as much revenue as you were before, you can cover yourself through that shortfall. Explore grant opportunities, like we said, where these can take a bit of time, so that's why we're being proactive about it. Seeking grant opportunities through the grants.gov website, databases that show you what are available for both for-profit and nonprofit businesses. So yes, grants do exist for for-profit entities, and there's a lot more of them than you might think. And then these are the best part. You don't need to repay them. They do take a bit of work, and they're not as much money as you might get through a loan, but hey, it's free money. You don't have to pay it back. So another avenue is building a relationship with your small business development center. So what they are is they're basically, you can think of them as a subsidiary of the SBA. They're paid for via taxpayer dollars, but what they are is a series of consultants who operate for little to no cost, and they will help connect you to consultants who will build your business plan, help build these cash flow projections that we're talking about, as well as connecting you with lending partners that you're more likely to qualify for. So they work with all kinds of lenders. It's very important that you get to know your local SBDC branch because they can help to connect you with all these resources. And lastly, build your relationships with your local banking institutions. We have US Bank. We partner very closely with them. They've helped us support many a number of entrepreneurs who didn't quite qualify for their terms, but we were able to come in and support them and eventually build them back up and pass them back to US Bank saying, hey, they're ready for you now. They're fit, they're ready to go, they're built up. And then the business owners get the better interest rate, the great service that US Bank provides, especially Ellie Castaneda and Madeline. They definitely take their time to support their small business owners. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and exit out of here. I'm going to move into US Bank's presentation. And we're starting, oh, sorry, clicked the wrong button. There we go. So at this point, I would like to introduce the Business Access Advisor joining us today, Ellie Castaneda. Ellie, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the time and I appreciate it. First and foremost, I wanted to say thank you, Matt, for being vulnerable and sharing that story. I think it's power in vulnerability, and I love hearing your passion about how you felt about your clients, right, that you represent. And so thank you for that. And I know that's sometimes much more powerful when it's coming straight from the source, right? Versus from like a banking or somebody like Ian who sees it versus someone that actually lived it. So thank you for sharing that. Ian, am I sharing my slide on my side, or I know you sent over the presentation? Can you
Yeah,
share
I
yours?
have it going right here. So go ahead and just give me a little signal to.
Yep, yeah, we're good. Just I don't see ours yet. I still see Anthony's yours.
You're still seeing our presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was sharing that one presentation. Got it. Apologies. There we go.
Oh, yep, there we are.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. All right. So, what I wanted to share is who we are, what I represent for the bank. So, my name is Eli Castaneda. I've been with the bank going on 16 years and had the privilege to work here at different capacities. And most recently, what I do is I'm a business access advisor for Inland Empire Market. So, I represent all of our San Gabriel Valley, all of our Riverside, San Bernardino counties, Kern County. And if you want to connect with me, there's my QR code. Would love to do that. But I want to go into what our access commitment is. Um, if you want, yeah, perfect. So we are all about inclusive growth, right? And our access commitment is our long-term approach to help close that wealth gap with underserved communities. A big part of our access commitment is through our connections and how we work and collaborate, especially with our internal and external partners. So here is very evident, right? So working with AMPAC as a strategic partner to help them fill in that gap where sometimes the bank can't fulfill the business need. Our partners can help fulfill that in many different ways. And so thank you for the opportunity to present in front of you. So I wanted to go, we talked about, Matt touched based on like knowing your information, knowing how easy it was to attain this loan. But what I want to do a little bit of time on is empowering you to know a few details about your credit and your options that you have. So let's go to the next slide. So the first one here, as we look at credit, it's so important for you to understand where you stand and how banks are going to look at that, how lending institutions are going to look at that. So one big thing that we do at US Bank is understanding your personal credit score and your business score, and how do those two combine is how we really looking at risk during an application process. So one of the things you want to make sure you know is your FICO score and how that might help acquire lending. And I'll go through a few products that I think are very correlated to the type of need a business might have. If you think about some componentships of the credit score, you think about your payment history, how much total outstanding debt you have, what percentage of credit use against the amount being offered in terms of your revolving debt, your length of credit history, how often you apply for credit, and what type of credit products you're using. We look at a lot in terms of, do you have comparable credit? Is that an opportunity for us to extend additional credit to you? So let's go to the next slide. So one of our products that really helps us fulfill a customer's need is our cash flow manager. What this is a line of credit. And then we can do these lines of credit as small as $10,000 and as large as $250,000. Typically, if we do a line of credit under our $50,000 threshold, it's going to be based on your credit only. So we're really not going to dig too deep into looking about your financials, looking at your cash flow. It's going to be based on your credit history, what type of exposure you've had, and it's 99% of the time going to be based on credit only. They really competitive rates. They're also have the ability to have a locked rate. So our line of credit is a variable rate product, but you do have the ability. So say, for example, you think you might need, X amount of funds for 6 months. You don't want to take on that credit risk. So you can lock that interest rate on that portion of your draw for a period of time. These are really expected to be used for like working capital. Really short-term debt is what our line of credit can be used for. The other access to capital that we have are our business credit cards. So a good thing about our cards is we actually report it done in Bradstreet. So we don't report our business debt to the personal credit bureaus. Now, Let me explain that a little bit more in detail. We look at your personal credit score and history to qualify you. But once that's qualified, we report to Dun and Bradstreet. So we don't report that into your personal credit. So that's going to be beneficial to you. And a lot of the times, our cards come with the ability to access capital at very low cost. So, for example, our Platinum card, we have 0% interest cost for the next 18 billion cycles. So if you do have a crunch where you might need the ability to access to capital at a low cost, maybe you're trying to purchase some software, purchase a piece of equipment, and it's under a certain threshold, we can do this type of financing, and you can get access to capital at a very affordable rate. Now, we also have cards that are going to pay you for utilizing them, and they're going to pay you dependent on where you spend the most on, but they are top of line type of cards. And if you do have a need to establish business credit, it's great. We can do a business credit card as long as you're 1 day in business. So we don't need a 2-year type of business history to establish a business card. You can establish your business credit day one after starting your business. So next, I'd like to kind of touch base on our diversity lending program. As folks are looking into capital, and as you are, if you happen to be a minority, which includes women, includes veterans, and includes our people of color. If you want to go to the next slide, kind of goes a little bit in detail about our diversity lending program. So this is also part of our commitment to provide access to capital and close the wealth gap where we have seen significant underinvestment in our communities. And so if you happen to be a part of the BIPOC population, which is highlighted here in blue, we do have our diversity lending program, and I'll go a little more in detail in this next slide. So this is an overlay of our existing guidelines. So if you apply for a cash flow manager, right, which is our line of credit, and you happen to be of minority, this helps us transfer the ability to lower our FICO requirements and lower our cash flow coverage to provide access to capital at lower parameters to help us make sure that you get access to those funds. So how to qualify? 51% or greater ownership in the operating in terms of all of those BIPOC populations. Borrowing needs to be under 2.5 million, and your annual gross sales has to be less than 25 million. So it's really meant for that small business population for us to be able to qualify for our diversity lending program.
And getting into a solution here. So we've been talking a lot about merchant cash advance, and a lot of those kinds of loans come through the credit card processing system. Typically, some well-known distributors of these kinds of loans are Clover, Square, and Toast. And so here we're introducing Madeline Flores, who will be introducing US Bank's alternative option that can also help you save some money. Madeline?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Madeline Flores. I have the QR code in case you guys have any questions or would like to be in contact with me after this presentation. I'm a US Bank Payment Solutions Market Manager. I cover the Inland Empire, and it is a pleasure today to be part of this presentation. What I will do next, I will introduce some background about our payment history in the industry, and then also some key elements that sets us apart from other companies. Okay, so we are the leader in payment industry. US Bank has been in the industry for over 30 years, developing a variety of payment solutions that support over 2 million global customers in over 36 countries, processing over 6.6 billion transactions a year, which translates to 450 billion worth of commerce globally. So it's a big scope when it comes to global payments. We are, leading the industry, and we have a lot of tools and keep developing those tools as well. So one of the things that we are actually very proud of is our Fusebox. Our Fusebox is a gateway, and over the years, it has been recognized in the industry as being the fastest in processing transactions and the best in performing gateways, as well as having the highest authorization volume. It's also important to mention that US Bank has not only been recognized for innovation over the years, but we have also been recognized for human interaction. We believe that business owners deserve to have someone that will understand their needs and will also be there to solve any issues. On the next slide. So we offer many attractive features that allow processing, access to processing, funding, and speedy cash flow. With our everyday funding, business owners can count on their transaction posting daily. Also, the funds being automatically transferred to their account, including on weekends and holidays. With our payment optimization program, we are able to reduce the payment acceptance costs of every transaction. So not only you get access to your funding right away, almost. Also on the weekends and holidays, you also maximizing your cash flow for your business. So more access to capital. In addition to those features, we also have the latest technology in the payment industry to allow business to process transactions safely in person, on the go, and also online. We bring features that allow businesses to now offer contactless payment options, buy online and pick up in the store options. Also, US Bank has reliable support that's available to business 24/7. So not only, automated systems or anything like that, we also have people that can assist you in many different languages as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how to reduce your payment acceptance costs. We actually have different programs in place with US Bank that will allow you to do that. If we can go over to the next slide. Our first one being the credit card surcharging option. With this option, you can reduce the cost of accepting card payments. With our surcharge program, business owners can now pass the cost of accepting the card to their customer. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us have experienced that by going to some restaurant or a place where if we want to pay with our credit card, we have to pay a fee, right? So it is part of the business nowadays, with the cost of doing business in the rise, it is a very attractive tool to a lot of business owners nowadays. So with US Bank, business owners can actually have the peace of mind that the surcharge fee will be in compliance with the credit card industry regulations. So a lot of times when we get charged that fee, it's out of regulations, and businesses can actually be fined heavily for doing that, but they are not educated on, when to surcharge, when not to surcharge. With our systems, it does it automatically. The business doesn't have to enter an additional fee or anything on the terminal. It will be already done by the terminal. Also, it is important to mention, sorry, if you can go back. It is important to mention that surcharge can only be added to credit cards. So any debit cards automatically will not be charged a fee. The merchant will be charged the fee for those transactions. And it can be done in person transactions and also online transactions. If we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. For debit optimization, this is going to be another feature that we have in place. So this is going to be for any debit card transactions. So in the terminal, this is mostly for in-person transactions. In the terminal, a lot of times when we pay with our debit card, it doesn't prompt us for anything. And it left us thinking, what's the security in this? What if I drop my debit card and someone went in and paid with it and, now they have access to my money? So this is actually going to protect both the business and also the customer. So with this feature in our terminals, it will allow the customer to enter their PIN number and they can now move away from that feature. So they have to enter their PIN number. It does add that extra layer of security for the customer as the transaction is happening. It authenticates the transaction and it also prevents for any potential chargebacks to the business and will reduce the cost also of processing the transaction without the PIN number. And now let's talk about Talech. So Talech, if we can go over to the next slide. So these are some of the terminals and some of the hardware that we have available with Talech. Talech is our very own POS system, and it adapts to various stages of every business. It could be retail, restaurants or any service businesses, with Talik, we are able to provide a solution for startups as well as for well-established businesses, starting with our Talik Mobile, which is a free app that businesses can download to their phone and can take payments on the go, and also can access invoicing through the app. Talik Pay tiers are going to be the starter, standard, and premium. So we are able to serve our customers at every stage, from cafes, hair salons, pizza parlors, convenience stores, restaurants, and many other businesses, using all of those type of Talik POS systems. And it is important to mention too, as the business grows, they can start with Talik Mobile, and once they have a store location and they want to, let's say, upgrade to Talik Premium, there is really no much cost involved as far as having to redo a contract or anything like that. We have no contracts, so our business owners can actually adapt as far as their business is progressing. Or if they want to downgrade from Talik Premium down to Talik Standard, they can do that at any point of their business. So let's talk a little bit about Talik Mobile. So with Talik Mobile, it is available to a lot of startup businesses and even businesses that are already established, but they are looking to take payments on the go. With Talik Mobile, business are able to process payments using the swiper that you see there, the Mobi 5500, or also on their iPhone. So if they are iPhone users, they can now tap the card directly onto their phone and process that payment. So a lot of the features that the app has that are really great are they can have a menu. If it's, let's say, a food truck and they want to have their full menu on their app to be able to charge their customers for items, and the customer will receive a receipt with the itemized items that they got. So next time they come back, they know what they like, they know what they got, and they can, get the same item again. So with this feature, they can also have a catalog. So if it's a hair salon, and let's say they want to charge for services and they want to tax on products, if they sell, hair products, they can have the multi-tax function that will only charge it on certain items and not on services. The basic reporting, it will also allow businesses to have access to the reporting of their transactions as they're happening every single day. If they have multiple locations, they can see everything in one app, and they can process refunds and everything on the go as well, and apply discounts and also charge different service fees depending on the type of service that they're providing. With Talik Premium, this is going to be our top tier of Talik. This is going to be a one-stop for everything. So if we have, like, let's say, a hair salon that has been in business for many years and they want to now have access to booking online. Now with Talik Premium, they have access to that. They don't have to pay a website developer or something additional to create a website for them. With Talik Premium, it's already included, as well as gift cards. So they can now have a booking website where their customers can go on Google, access their business, and be able to book their appointments on there. It's also available for restaurants that would like the feature to have the pay online and pick up in the store, as well as retail. They can have their full inventory, and they will get inventory alerts as well to let them know when they're running low on certain items. With Talik Premium, if let's say it's a restaurant with multiple with servers, managers, and they have different tiers of access. They can set this up directly on the website or directly on the POS system. So once everything is set up, they can also set up their time cards. So the employees can have access to printing out their time cards when they're clocking in, clocking out for lunch, and all of that is available directly from the POS system. All right, so that was just a quick overview of some of the features that we offer with Talik and with US Bank. We have many other features, and I would love the opportunity to connect with some of you. Like I said, if you have any questions or would like to connect with me, the QR code, it's available in the slide. You can always reach out to me through either call, text, or also email. Thank you, everyone.
Alrighty, thank you so much for that presentation, Madeline. And we're gonna go ahead and open it up to our participants. So if there's any questions, we've only got about 3 of you in here, but if there's any questions, we'll take a couple minutes to answer any of those. How might we get in contact? We'll be sending out our emails and addresses after the fact. Since you've attended, we have that contact information. But yeah, we just want to open it up. Are there any questions from the audience? We'll give it a couple minutes. And then you should also be receiving a survey after the fact to ask what you thought of the presentation and give us any feedback that you might have. I'm not seeing anything come through in the chat or the Q&A. Go ahead and stop sharing right now. All right, well, we are probably going to be able to give the gift of time. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming through. Oh, wait, no, there is one question. So how do we move forward on this info to small business owners who may be desperate to fill their deficit? So yeah, you just want to, you could just give them our contact information, say contact Helly, Madeline, or Ian, and they can help connect us to the appropriate partner. We really understand each other's products, which is the best part about having a close partnership. So we know where the one or the other might be a better fit. So we're going to be sending out, like I said, our contact information. So if you run into a business owner, then you can pass that off at that point in time. So hopefully that answered the question. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and conclude there today, everyone. Thank you so much for coming by. And thank you to our wonderful guest speakers, Helly, Madeline, and Matt. Thank you guys so much for coming by, and we'll be distributing the recording after it's been processed. All right.
Thank you, Ian. Thanks, everybody. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ian, for having us.